And we are live. Hey guys, welcome to the Superhero Cuts podcast where we talk all things Marvel, DC, and Star Wars. It's your boy Stevie Hayes, joined by the usual my co-host Jerry. My brother, how are you today? What's going on?
I'm great, bro. How's everything going with you?
Good, man. We here, baby. I'm ready to record. I'm excited. Just letting you guys know. So for some reason, my check mark is being looked at right now on X. So we are not live right now on X. Literally just found that out
Oh,
at the
I'll
moment.
post it.
Perfect. And the reason why my X account is under review is because I posted the Thunderbolts and the Fantastic Four trailer from D23. So I'm under review for like the next couple of days. But
Could you
I
set?
didn't know that it would affect me going live though.
How do I post our live stream on X?
I don't. I will have to like end the stream and like redo it. So
Okay.
it would be Dutch, but I'm definitely gonna add your X account as a backup for next time.
For sure.
Honestly, I'm finna live stream on both X accounts. That would be
That's
fire.
that's actually a great idea.
But yeah, look, we're making pot ideas on the stream. There we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm sorry that we're not on X today, but we will be back on X next week. So we do have a field docket to get to here. And first I want to start with obviously Robert Downey Jr. because he had a interview and he talked to the Hollywood Reporter. So let's talk about some things that he said. And this is a win. Well, it was already talked about already, but this is a big win for Jerry because Jerry's been saying this for a while, and a lot of people were like, against it. Even I was at first, and then I came over and like, oh, like okay.
Bro,
After I rewatched the freaking Comic-Con stuff, but
let's be real here. You were gonna have a whole different theory yesterday.
that had nothing to do with RDJ still playing Doom. That was like that theory was basically saying that after RDJ's Doom does whatever, I had a theory, and it's still in working, but I have a possible theory that infamous Iron Man will be on the team of people to help save the day. And that could still possibly happen, but that wouldn't change the fact that RDJ is playing Victor Von Doom.
Right.
And even infamous Iron Man is still Victor Von Doom. So I mean, it would still make sense. But anyways, all right, let's read what RDJ says. So Robert Downey Jr. explains how Kevin Feige approached him returning to the MCU as Dr. Doom. Feige said how we cannot go backwards, how we do not disappoint expectations, how we can continue to beat expectations. And this is what Feige said to him. Let's get Dr. Doom right. Okay. And those come straight from that's what RDJ said that Kevin Feige said to him. So, first off, how do you feel about Kevin Feige saying this?
Listen, this is like one of the biggest characters in the Marvel universe. He is like as important as anyone else. They have to get it right, and I think that they didn't want to leave it to chance. And who is more reliable in the MCU than, why am I thinking his name's Tony Stark?
RDJ.
RDJ, yeah, I'm like blanking on his name. Yeah. Ironically, but yeah, listen, he is the most reliable actor. This is the house that RDJ built. RDJ is the perfect actor for this. I think that this announcement broke a lot of people's brains. There's a lot of people online, specifically who don't read comics, who they just wanted RDJ as Iron Man back. So they're like, oh, well, it's going to be Infamous Iron Man. But they don't realize that Infamous Iron Man is the redemption arc. It's definitely not Infamous Iron Man. Anyone who understands the Marvel lore could have told you that it's not Infamous Iron Man. That was a stupid call. It's obviously Victor Von Doom. They've now confirmed it on day one when they announced RDJ was playing Victor Von Doom as Dr. Doom. They've now said it again. Also, there's a lot of people out there that are saying Infamous Iron Man, he's going to be Tony Stark, and he's going to be Infamous Iron Man. Newsflash, Infamous Iron Man is Victor Von Doom. So anyone who's telling you that it's going to be Tony Stark as Infamous Iron Man, you should mute and never listen to another word they say again. And, there's also a big complaint going on that I've been seeing. Oh, he's not a Romani actor. You didn't complain was Kang was black, okay? So drop it here about RDJ. You didn't complain about all the other swaps, but this one about a Romanian, this is the one that you're going to complain about? Get out of here over it. I didn't complain was Kang was black, and I'm also not complaining that Victor Von Doom is not played by a Romani actor, okay? So I am consistent. And listen, Victor Von Doom, like, is an epic character. You know, he's not really, he is the most powerful villain in the Marvel universe, but he's not your typical villain. And that's kind of what makes him really stand out once you know the character. This is a guy that appears like a villain because he does bad things, but he doesn't really have the evil always. Doesn't necessarily always have evil intentions. He does savage things because he's big on the ends justifying the means. And that is kind of, you know, a character. And that's why the best character analysis stories in Marvel Comics usually have something to do with Doctor Doom, because he's a very complex, nuanced character, and he's hard to just pin into a box. You know, but obviously, for a lack of a better word, he's a villain. I wouldn't call him an anti-hero either. You know, but I'm super stoked. I think RDJ is going to bring fire to this role. RDJ has range. Don't let yourself get into the typecast mentality. He's not going to, you know, be playing. He's not going to seem like Tony Stark when he's playing Doctor Doom. And if you're someone that can't understand that, stop putting out theories on the internet.
Yeah. So I agree with everything you say, man. This was announced at the announcing of, you know, Avengers Doomsday, that RDJ is playing Victor Von Doom. And so people that made theories about Victor Von Doom, RDJ, I'm cool with. But, you know, shout out to Josh from Dead and Nerds. We love Josh. Like, we watch a lot of his content, but he was one of the main people that was saying that he was a Tony Stark variant, which is just clearly wrong, you know. And when it comes to theories, you can't go against what the studio already says, you know, because they're giving us the facts.
Yeah.
So
I give Josh Den of Nerds a pass because he's one of the greats.
Oh yeah,
and I know he does his homework, but I have seen a lot of people who absolutely have no clue what they're talking about.
Exactly. And that's why tomorrow I can't wait to see Josh's stream and see what he says. And to be honest, bro, I think that Feige and them, I think this was a calculated, like, I think they wanted RDJ to say this. I think Feige was like, yo, we need to get you an interview so you can just speak about how this came about, but you need to tell fans that you're playing Victor Von Doom, because the amount of fans that thought this was a Tony Stark variant, Jerry, it was, and by the way, on Instagram threads, oh my gosh, I don't even want to go on there anymore. I can't tell you how many Tony Stark variant fan arts I see on threads. So, you know, I thought a lot of the fandom was on that wave. What's up?
I thought the same exact thing. Like, Feige was obviously like, listen, we need you to say something because the fans have lost their minds. And I think Feige is a lot more in touch with how the fandom thinks than people realize. And, you know, I've been getting active on threads, and listen, I like it because I'm getting engagement, but to say there's a lack of intelligence on that app is, to put it lightly. I mean, and it's just making me think, like, you know what, I'm not going to go there because I just don't think that the people who I'm talking about can handle it. You know, but listen, they said it on day one, and then they saw the internet lose their minds, and they were like, all right, we need you to say it again and, like, really spell it out for them. You know, we'll leave no room for confusion.
Yeah, exactly. Even though the Russo said out their mouths, this is Victor Von Doom, which should have been enough, right? So, so we are.
Also, I want to say one more thing real quick.
Go ahead.
And Victor Von Doom is infamous Iron Man, and I think that there are a lot of people that know that, but there are a lot of people that don't know that, and they think infamous Iron Man is Tony Stark because Iron Man is in the name. You know, infamous Iron Man is a redemption arc, and in infamous Iron Man, one of the things that Victor first of all, in infamous Iron Man, what happens is Iron Man dies. Tony Stark, Iron
Well,
Man.
he doesn't die, but he's in like a coma.
So there's a lot of situations like that in Marvel where they believe the character to be dead, but they in Infamous Iron Man, they're under the premise that Tony Stark is dead. The rest of the Marvel universe believes that Tony Stark is dead. And what happens is that Victor takes over the Iron Man armor and becomes Iron Man and wants to do the right thing and like actually be a hero. Not for the praise, but what he encounters is that everyone doesn't believe that he has pure intentions. Nobody believes that Victor has turned good, and he accepts that. But what you have to understand about what I'm telling you is that it doesn't make sense to introduce Infamous Iron Man without having the villain arc of Victor Von Doom as Doctor Doom. Marvel would be out of their minds to do Infamous Iron Man before they do Victor Von Doom. I don't know that I'm sold that they are ever going to do Infamous Iron Man, but if you're so stuck on, they're going to do it, really, really want them to do it, so you're convincing yourself of that, they're not going to do it until they get the villain Doom arc. It just
100%. And to be honest with a lot of you guys, what happens after Secret Wars with Doctor Doom, that's a big question, because I mean, I'm not going to stretch out and say that I know if RDJ is going to be Doom after this or not. I don't know what's going to happen, but Doom, like, this could be Doom's thing, and we might not see him for a decade. I mean, like, it's very possible, and then they might come with someone else. But regardless of what happens, right? And the Infamous Iron Man take was dumb and stupid, and I blame the Russos for putting that freaking art that they sent to the freaking soups anyway, which was hilarious. It feels like they were trying to like troll fans, which seems very hilarious. But
I just think they wanted to do a nice gesture and they gave too much credit to the fans. I don't think it's on them. I think it's on the fans. And I'll tell you something else. Anyone who has like intricate theories for post Secret Wars is crazy. Like, we really have there are so many movies that are happening before Secret Wars, and so much that, like, if you have an intricate theory, like, my one thing that I'm going to say about Secret Wars is after Secret Wars, I'm confident that there's going to be a major X-Men movie in the first movie, or like the first 2 or 3 movies. And that's when the X-Men are going to be like center stage. That's the only thing I'll say. But like, people who are like, oh, well, he's going to become Infamous Iron Man because X, Y, and Z is going to happen. Like, you are out of your mind. You are out of your mind.
Yeah, because now they're in their own minds and they're trying to write plots. Like, if you want to make a theory video on what happens after, you got to title it "What I Would Do If I Was Marvel." Don't try to talk like you're Marvel. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like say like, this is what I would do.
Right.
But so yeah, and that's the thing with the theory space, is that a lot of people don't know how to, because you know me, bro. I'm a big theory guy.
Yeah.
But I'm big with like making the boundaries clear. Like, I just did a freaking Star Wars joint, and I literally said, if I was in charge of Star Wars, I'm not trying to theorize this is what could possibly happen if Rey has sex with Kylo. Like I would never go that route.
Yeah.
So a lot of people but bro, like a lot of people but when people are doing it for clicks and views, you know what I'm saying? They try to say things to try to make people, start these rumors and stuff like that to push.
I do think that, but I also think there are a lot of people who like want to see something so badly that they convince themselves, and then they try. Like, one of the tweets I sent you today, the kid was like, "I'll bet you money it's Infamous Iron Man." Like, I know you want to let us know how confident you are in your dumb theory, but I promise you do not want me to take your money, because I'm not just making a $10 bet if I make a bet.
I'm betting the house on that one, baby.
Bro. And like, I'm not really a theory guy. Like, my theories are pretty simple. Like, things like Kang is going to be the one. Dr. Doom is going to be the one to eliminate Kang. Like, that's as intricate as my theories go.
Yeah.
Stevie's thing is to get a little more detailed, and he cooks with them. It's just not my thing.
For sure. Yeah. You're more of a lore prediction guy.
Yeah,
But the funny thing is that's how I am with like fantasy stuff, with like Harry Potter. I'm more lore oriented there. But
yeah,
but that's why we work, bro. Two
yep.
peas in a pod. But yeah, man, I am really happy that RDJ came out and said this. And I really think Doomsday is going, and like a lot of people keep trying to make up stuff, because the reality is, bro, is that I think that Avengers Doomsday is a lot of people. I feel like a lot of fans know what Avengers Doomsday is going to be, but they're trying to make it more and more exciting for themselves. And I think this film is going to be a deep dive on Doctor Doom as a character, and obviously it's going to be big, and he's going to fight against a lot of people in this film. But we are going to see a zoom in, a deep dive into the mind of Doctor Doom, and RDJ is one of the best people to play this role, because RDJ was created to play complicated characters. That's who RDJ is. He's a complicated man. I mean, if you look at his life story, I mean, he's built for roles like this. And so I am really, really, really excited to see Tony Stark take the role of Victor Von Doom. So now, I want to get to another Doctor Doom rumor, and then we're going to get to some DCU stuff. So, there was a rumor that came out in regards to Doctor Doom and the Fantastic Four First Steps. So it says this. In the Fantastic Four First Steps post-credit scene, Kang the Conqueror will be killed, or the Kang the Conqueror variants will be killed by Doctor Doom. Now, this is something that you talked about, you and I have talked about, I mean, for months now, saying that, and you were really peaking pretty hard, saying that, that since Doctor Doom is the one to take the place of Kang, you want Doctor Doom to, like, you want to see Doctor Doom take out Kang. So
It's more than that.
how do you
It's
feel about, hold on, because I do have a few questions about Doctor Doom being in the Fantastic Four film, because I was reading some Fantastic Four comics, because you and I have been talking about, obviously Franklin Richards for the longest. So I read about the birth of Franklin and Valeria, and I found out that Doctor Doom named Valeria Richards, and I didn't know that, bro. And so and there's also rumors that that the kids will already be born, and you and I already saw that there was a baby on set. So if this is the case, that the Fantastic Four is going to have kids and all of this stuff, before we get to the post credit scenes, should this mean that we should expect to see RDJ Doctor Doom in the Fantastic Four already, if certain things are happening? Because if RDJ's Doctor Doom is coming from this Earth, which is the big rumor, and with all of these things going on with Galactus, I mean, the excuse, Jerry, could be that Doctor Doom is killing Kang variants this whole time. But would you expect to see Doctor Doom in this film if these people and characters are involved?
I think that I don't feel as strongly on this one as the other ones.
Yeah.
But if I had to guess, I don't think Doctor Doom is going to be in the main. But let me finish. I don't think he's going to be in the main part or story of Fantastic Four. I do think if we see him at all, it will be a post-credit scene. And the reason why, because I'll always give you the reasons, because those are important, is because I just think that there's too much going on already with the Fantastic Four movie. They're already dealing with time travel, multiversal. Time travel and multiversal is very different. It's not the same thing. If you're a Marvel fan, you should be able to understand that. I got to stop being so snide. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be rude to our viewers. I just can't stand a lot of the comments I've been getting on Threads, and it's made me realize that not everyone is able to grasp all these concepts. So, like, I'm really just trying to spell things out for the type of people I've met on Threads. Anyway, and the other thing that you have to think about with the Fantastic Four, they've never really been successful with the Fantastic Four in movies before. And because of that, I think that, like, and I don't think that they're playing it so safe. Originally, I thought they would, but I definitely think it would be a major risk to have Galactus Silver Surfer, Shalabal, whatever, and Doctor Doom. I just think it would be way too much. And if we do see Victor Von Doom in the movie, I'm also making a prediction that he's not going to be in the Doctor Doom armor, and it would just be Victor Von Doom. Maybe something like a flashback to Reed's college days. For those of you that don't know, Reed and Victor Von Doom went to college together. They were intellectual rivals, and it's a big part of both of their stories and their origins. Not necessarily in terms of their, hero and villain origin, but just their origin of like their characters in general. And, the interesting thing with Valeria and Doom is that they really do have like a unique and special relationship. And they're pulling a lot from Jonathan Hickman's comics right now, but Valeria is super intelligent. And in Hickman's run, she actually makes a deal with Doctor Doom because she needs his help with certain threats that the Fantastic Four face with like the Four Cities, and the Four Cities is an underwater thing that Susan ends up working with Namor, and then the Mad Celestials come back. But the brunt of it is that Valeria knows that Doom is like the only person with the intellect and resources that could help, and she asks, and so she asks for help, but Doom asks for something in return, and he asks for her respect and acknowledgement of just being a friend and a mentor. And this relationship kind of evolves, and Doom really takes a more complex, noble role. And again, going back to he's not necessarily a villain, and he becomes a key player in this multiversal collapse that leads into Secret Wars. And his role as Valeria's mentor, it becomes bigger and bigger, and going into Secret Wars. And it's really interesting to see. And it's just, that's why Doctor Doom is just such a complex, layered character. And it's pretty cool to see, Valeria have that relationship with Doctor Doom.
So you think that, if I was to summarize your take, you're like, that's more of a number one, you don't think Doctor Doom is going to have a big part in this at all? Like, and
I'm willing to bet on. He's definitely not going to have a big part. That I would put the house on.
And to be honest, I mean, the post-credit scene would make sense to me. I'm pretty sure it makes sense to you as well, because I mean, the Fantastic Four is pretty much obviously connected to this whole thing. They're the centerpiece of this. So, and I think it would be cool to see RDJ Doom like dragging one of the Kang variants, like you're something crazy.
Yeah. By the way, I also have to mention, because I don't think I mentioned this, but in Secret Wars, the first one, Doctor Doom, he doesn't actually kill Kang the Conqueror, but he does face all these entities and characters during the event, and he basically takes over the power and kind of tricks Kang. And Doctor Doom always one-ups Kang. So, they work together, but they also kind of have a rivalry, and they're very similar. They're very similar in terms of being like masterful strategists. Like, Kang is someone who will plot like a revenge through eras of time, and he'll travel back and live through time again to get back at someone. And, Doctor Doom is someone who, he's got like superpowers in an intense way too. But I think Doctor Doom is going to be the one to take out Kang, because they, number one, could do it quickly, get it over with. Number two, builds up Doom's character, and number three, it would definitely be consistent with the canon of the Marvel universe.
Yeah, I think the way that they're going to have Doctor Doom, if we were to differentiate how they're going to look in the MCU, I would say MCU Kang, very calculated. He knows how to hide himself in plain sight. I don't think Doctor Doom's going to be like that. Dr. Doom's going to be like, I'm here. Like, let's get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, Dr. Doom's mindset is gonna be like, no. I want everybody to know it's me. I want every trace of the multiverse. I want every Earth to know that it's me that, you know, did this. And I think that this is gonna be a very what's the word? A very, I want to say masterful, but also a very aggressive, like I think Doctor Doom really appealed to Robert Downey Jr. because RDJ has always played the cocky guy, but he's never played the aggressive, like ongoing, on forward character. And we saw some of that in Infinity War, where he was just ready to fight anybody, you know, and the nanotech suit was insane. But Tony Stark, you know, was very cocky, but I wouldn't say he's as aggressive as, you know, this Doctor Doom portrayal is going to be. So I'm pretty excited.
The interesting piece to me there is that most superheroes naturally are reactive. You know, a villain does something and they react. And I think the smarter and more resourceful heroes like a Batman and in our case, an Iron Man have times where they are proactive. Like Age of Ultron is a perfect example of Tony Stark attempting to be proactive.
Yeah.
You know, but Doctor Doom is a proactive guy. He is not, you know, sitting there waiting for someone to do something before he sets his plans off in motion. He's the guy that, you know, and you said it perfectly, because Doctor Doom, he's cocky, and that's one of the things that makes him like such an entertaining character.
Exactly. But bro, I also think that it's going to be a very interesting thing for RDJ, because Tony Stark was very unapologetic in the things that he did, and in some things that he did, there was no deep meaning to why he did it. With Doctor Doom, regardless of how menacing it may seem, there's always a deeper meaning to why he does things. And you know, Thanos had that to an extent, but you couldn't really like feel it because you're still trying to wipe out humanity no matter what you say. Like we get that Thanos says, you know, that like, you know, that the population is getting too high, we're going to run out of resources. But all in all, we disagree with, you know, Thanos. But if Doctor Doom pulls the card of like, I went to the end of time and I see how it is, and like it's it's gonna be hard for a lot of fans to side with that. And Doctor Doom has that, you know, he's capable of doing that. I mean, he pretty much fools Doctor Strange and a lot of other characters in Secret Wars, and that's the part of, you know, RDJ playing this Doctor Doom character that I'm really excited to see, because bro, he's gonna hoodwink so many people in these next few films. And also want to say this, right? We obviously had the Science Bros, right? With Bruce Banner and Tony Stark. We're about to get the freaking Magic Bros with Doctor Doom and Doctor Strange. And let me tell you, the Magic Bros are going to be way better than the Science Bros. Doctor Doom and Doctor Strange being Doctor Doom's right hand man, bro. We are in for a treat, brother. We are in for a treat.
Doom, don't forget, he's both, because you know he's the master of sorcery and science.
He's the Science Bro and the Magic Bro, and and I think I texted you yesterday saying that his powers is basically a mix of Doctor Strange and, you know, and Stark being very smart and, you know, very technologically intuitive. But the scary thing, Jerry, is that he's just as smart as Reed, and that's what's freaking scary, bro.
Yeah,
that kind of knowledge, bro.
He would say he's smarter than Reed.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true. And to some degrees, he is. Some degrees, he truthfully is. And so, you know, this is, and look, we've spent 28 minutes talking about Doctor Doom, and we are, because he is one of the greatest, not just villains. Doctor Doom is one of the greatest characters of all time. Definitely top 10. So we're just so excited for Doctor Doom, man. This is going to be, it's going to be one of the most special groups of films that we're ever going to see. So, all right. Okay, now, is that enough Doctor Doom fanboying for this podcast? No, but we are going to get to some DCU stuff here. So, I want to
right off the cover, our boy in the comments.
Oh crap! Yeah, sorry. Thank you for reminding me. Let's go through some chats while we're here. Sorry, guys. I'm just so excited to get these topics. Good dogs. I'm sorry, guys.
We gotta dock it tonight.
Yeah, dude. I'm just super hyped. To be honest with you, I don't like the fact RDJ is playing him. And look, Dragon Trainer, bro, that's totally fine. Just don't just when you go into the film to see it, remove all of those emotions and go in with an open mind, because I think your mind is going to be changed very quickly.
I was going to say basically, I think he's going to win all the naysayers over really
Yep.
quickly.
Yep. I'm so glad that RDJ is playing Victor Von Doom and not a Tony variant, bro. So are we, bro. So are we. And and to be honest, if RDJ did play a Tony variant, bro, it would be so corny. I'm not gonna lie, it would be so whack. And it would do a disservice to Doctor Doom. And Jerry, this is how you know. Remember when you told me to read more Doctor Doom comics? I've been reading, bro. So yeah, last night I was pulling up some stuff. So I'm gonna send you some of the stuff I'm reading.
Okay, that's what I was
Yeah.
going to ask.
And no, I'm gonna definitely send you some, bro. I screenshotted all these shots, bro. I was I was simping last night. Anyways, the amount of people that say actors and directors lie all the time. By the way, I've been guilty of saying this, okay, and I still believe that they lie. And I'm like, there's a difference between Andrew lying in a minor like interview that no one saw versus an announcement in a big event. And I'm not gonna lie, bro. And let me just call out myself, because I've been guilty of saying that actors and directors lie. And to be honest, I've been right about some of these things. So but when a casting is being talked about, there's no lie. Like when the director says a certain person is playing a character,
It was the centerpiece of Comic-Con. He came out dressed as Doctor Doom. You think that was an act?
And
Come
the
on.
movie's called Doomsday.
Yeah.
So I mean, come on. That's like saying, bro. That's like saying, I'm not even going to.
That's like LeBron saying, I'm taking my talent to Miami and being like, psych, I'm going to New York.
Bro, that's like someone, that's like Jensen Ackles, right? Getting announced as Batman, right? They say that the guy that's playing Batman is Bruce Wayne, and then fans say it's Dick Grayson. that's basically what we did, bro.
Yeah, and then showing up in the movie as like Flashpoint Batman.
Oh, fandom. Okay. Doom is going to kill all the Kang variants. Is that how Kang gets written out of the MCU? That is most likely going to be how Kang gets written out of the MCU. And I think this does a big thing for Dr. Doom, because he already starts out as a savage. And that's how you have to show him. I think the first shot of Dr. Doom that you see in the MCU, he has to be ruthless. He has to look like a Marvel John Wick. That's how I think that's how fans have to view him, like Baba Yaga type style. You know what I mean? Whenever the name Doom is talked about, it should make people in the Marvel universes quiver.
Kind of like Darth Vader, actually.
Another great example, Darth Vader, Baba Yaga. I just love that word. All right, I think RDJ staying as Doom post Secret Wars. I do think RDJ is staying as Doom post Secret Wars, because why an entire rebooted Fantastic Four that has history with this Doom, only to keep the Fantastic Four and reboot Doom? I have no answer to that at the moment.
I think he's staying as Dr. Doom for a long time because they're paying $80 million.
Yeah. I just have no answer to that at the moment. I go back and forth. Hey guys, what's popping? What's up off the cover? Hope you're doing good, Holmes. How are you? Sorry, I know you don't like changing subjects, but I need to, bro. No worries, bro. We can talk about what you need, bro. Okay. So, all right, let's go. Sorry, I know you don't like changing subjects, but I need to understand. So, RDJ played Iron Man. Is he playing a brand new character the way Aaron Taylor Johnson played Quicksilver, who's not great? Okay. So, just to give you a quick grazer of a breakdown, right? So, let's talk about Aaron Taylor Johnson. There's two different universes. There's the MCU, right? The Marvel Cinematic Universe. Craven and Venom, they are in the SUMC, the Sony universe of Marvel characters. So in the Sony universe of Marvel characters, we have Morbius, we have Venom, we have the Spider-Verse, Miles Morales, and we have all of those films. Now in the MCU, we obviously have, Iron Man, Captain America, etc., etc. So RDJ is playing Doctor Doom, but this Doctor Doom is from another Earth. Okay, so in the MCU, right? The MCU, and with the lovely movie of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, just to make Jerry mad, they have introduced that there is a multiverse which means that there are multiple Earths. So technically, This movie will be in the MCU timeline, aka like this will be technically a Marvel Studios film, but the Earth that Doctor Doom is coming from will not be our MCU, where Iron Man and Captain America and Tom Holland Spider Man are. Okay,
That's a
and
big
that's
prediction
how is it a big prediction?
because you have no idea if he's coming from another Earth or another planet.
What makes you think so? If Victor number one, Matt Shackman said that he's known for a while that RDJ is playing Victor Von Doom. Number two, if the Fantastic Four is going to come from another Earth, what would make you think that Doctor Doom would not come from that Earth? It would be idiotic. It would be stupid. It will be one of the dumbest
I
ideas
agree.
I've
I
ever
agree,
heard
but
of.
it is a prediction.
If they breed him in the MCU, that would or yeah, in the MCU, that would be
I
nuts.
agree. I because how are they going to explain that he's been here all along?
Yeah.
But it is a prediction.
It is a very strong prediction that is most likely right. That's what I'll say. It is a very strong prediction that is most likely right that Doom is coming from another. And if not, that's a crazy decision from Marvel Studios. Just
Yeah,
saying, crazy
I
decision.
think it would be a cool surprise if that. Like, I just think that how many characters are they going to bring in through the multiverse? Like, I wouldn't put it past them to continue to play it out. But I just think it's gonna. I don't know. I think they're gonna do it with Doctor Doom. I would like to see some characters have like a really cool explanation for them being on the same Earth but not being in the picture. I think Doctor Doom might be too big of a character to do that with because he's like too powerful. But they might be able to do it with Latveria or something like that. But like we don't know how they're bringing Doctor Doom into the universe. I actually think that I think it probably will be a multiversal thing too. But we'll see.
Yeah, and I don't like. And the thing that really pisses me off with a lot of fans is like, this is the multiversal saga. So why I don't get why a lot of fans get mad that Marvel is using the multiverse to introduce anything because this is the multiversal saga. And the reality is that when the MCU first started, they weren't able to put the mutants and certain things. So you have to use the multiverse to make things make sense. And I just don't understand why people hate that because I mean the multiverse has been used in comics to a degree that was even more insane. So I just don't I don't as a fan, I don't understand where it's this problem with using the multiverse to explain people coming to them because that's the point. Or I don't want to say that is the point of this saga, but one of the liberties of having the multiverse is that they were able to fill the roles in this new MCU that they weren't able to fill due to them just not having the rights to characters, and that's kind of where I'm not really like feeling what a lot of people are going with the hate of the MCU or the hate of the multiverse.
I just think it's lazy to do it over and over again. And I would like some variation to how the characters get brought over. And it's entirely different to compare the comics because the difference with the comics is that all these characters were in the picture. It's not like some characters were out of the picture and then they had to bring them in and they kept bringing them in through the multiverse. And, I would like some like if we keep doing the multiverse thing, it's like obvious, like, oh, they're going to bring him in through the multiverse. Like, I would like to be surprised and hear something that I didn't even think of. I don't know. I think that would be really cool, because the less predictable the MCU is to me, the better. I don't like predictable. It's boring. It gets boring.
Yeah, so I mean, but I disagree with that because people just forget the fact that they didn't have the rights to these characters, and I think that we don't know what they're doing with the mutants yet, and I think Brave New World is going to give us a lot of answers to where they're going to go with the mutants route, and I really have I have a theory that I wrote, but I'm not going to say it yet because I need to see Brave New World first and what they do. What I'm going to say this. What they do with the adamantium situation will tell us how the mutants will come to the MCU, the way they handle that. But so sorry, bro. But with that being said, like I do understand what you're saying with different variations of how they come to the MCU. And I think that we are getting different variations. I mean, the Fantastic Four, the rumor, we're going by rumors right now because there's no really confirmed story stuff. So obviously, we know that they're on another Earth, but there's rumors that there could possibly be a time jump or whatever. But we all know that somehow the Fantastic Four are going to get to our MCU somehow. Whether if that's Galactus eating the freaking planet or Franklin Richards doing something insane, I think that does count as variation. It is a different way. Even Monica Rambeau, right? Like there's an oncoming incursion, and she somehow phases into another Earth. To me that seems like variation. Does that not seem like variation to you?
Yeah, but Monica Rambeau, like that's one character who's like not even significant. And if the excuse for bringing characters in through the multiverse is, well, they didn't have the rights to the characters, so they have to do something, that seems really weak to me because the reason for the movie shouldn't have anything to do with the legal rights. At the end of the day, we're still watching the movie as entertainment, and the legal rights that go on in making the movie have nothing to do with the story. And I expect Marvel to challenge themselves and not be so predictable. And the more they bring in the multiversal reason, like they should be speaking to creative writers like Jonathan Hickman, like Brian Bendis, and sitting down and saying, hey, what else could we do so we're not so predictable, because fans might get bored of that. That's what I think, and I expect better. It's the MCU. This is the greatest show on earth, and I just think that they can do better, and I like to hold them to that standard.
So I do not agree that the legal rights don't have anything to do with the story, because if that was the case, Spider-Man getting pulled from Sony wouldn't have been an issue with like throwing all of their films around.
I'm not saying it doesn't have anything to do with the story, but when I'm watching the story, I'm not going to let that be an excuse. Yeah, obviously there's certain characters that can't be in the movie because of legal rights, but that doesn't change the fact that the movie they're still making has to be a good movie and shouldn't be predictable.
Yeah, but I'm saying that they can use the multiverse in so many different ways that could be unpredictable. Like because to me, bro, it's like obviously the multiverse is going to be the reason why, right? But the way that they come, no Diddy, is very different. Had to ask something is very different from what we're actually going to see, and that's where I agree with you, where I want to see variety in how they enter the MCU, not necessarily the main fact that brings there, because I think that with the Secret War story and Doctor Doom being involved with the multiverse, I think that's the one thing that brings a lot of people together. It's just how. But like a matter of.
That's also one of the things that was like really cool to me about Kang and Quantumania, even though like I don't know, I need to rewatch that movie and like come up with a video on why I think it didn't land for a lot of people. But the fact that Kang was banished from the Council of Kangs to the quantum realm, and the Ant-Man team, ended up through the whatever device that Cassie made was called, into the quantum realm. Like, what was it called?
I said, I forget.
Yeah. Like that was cool. I just think that the like whole multiversal thing, like, I don't know, it just played out predictable. They could do something else. They could do something better. This is Marvel. These are the most creative writers and creators on the planet. And for someone like Dr. Doom, I expect something unique and special.
Bro, all they have to do is use America Chavez.
Exactly. If it's America Chavez's power, it's boring.
Yeah, dude, I really want Dr. Doom to just take her power, just take her out quickly, bro. Just take her power, Doom, and do your thing, bro.
You know what? You know what I would like them to do with the multiverse? Use that as an excuse to throw away characters. Okay, instead of bringing in so many characters, throw away America Chavez, throw away Captain Marvel. Oh, I know my threads. Oh my God, you can't. I said it. Okay, and let me tell you something. I liked Captain Marvel. Okay, but the Marvels was trash. I mean, I have so many people who are like trying to say it's like a statement on my character that I didn't like that movie. It was like they were saying basically you are a bad person because you didn't like that movie. And if you don't believe me, go on my threads, comics cuts, and look at my post about Miss Marvel and the actress for Miss Marvel, Iman, being one of the best MCU castings. It's crazy. I said such a nice thing.
By the way, we love Iman over here. We love Iman.
And I praised Miss Marvel, but the fact that I didn't like the Marvels, it wasn't enough support. And because of that, a few people tried to argue that I am a bad person. And it didn't explicitly say you're a bad person, but they do make statements on my character at the end of the day.
Yeah. I also want to say this while we're here as well, is that, you know, there is a such thing as liking films that are bad, right? Like for me with Doctor Strange, like now I would rank the Doctor Strange very higher than a lot of other people, but I will be the first to tell you the movie's not that good. You know what I mean? And I just personally like the multiversal elements of the movie, and Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness reached me, didn't reach Jerry, right? Like, so look, I troll Jerry to like to defend it, you know, because it's content. I like to make him mad sometimes. Same way how we troll each other with Batman, right? Or I actually do hate the Dark Knight stuff, but you guys get what I'm saying. You guys know what I'm saying here. But if I was to go and seriously cape to Jerry that like that Multiverse of Madness is better than the Winter Soldier, right? I would be insane. The Quantum Satellite, yes, thank you, Dragon Trainer. But yeah, like I will be wild to cape for that, right? And that's the issue is like you can say you like the Marvels. We don't care about that. You like it. Good. But like you have to admit the flaws and say that it's a bad movie. Same with the Percy Jackson films. I love the Percy Jackson films, but they're bad. So yeah, that's just knowledge right there. Okay. Let's get to the rest of these chats and we'll get to the next topic. Superhero Cuts, quick question. What is your thoughts on oh gosh, I was literally just talking about this earlier to freaking Darren. What is your thoughts on Amanda Waller TV series? And we could use this to lead. Actually, we're going to answer this question last because this could lead into our DCU talk. So let's cover the rest of the MCU stuff. The rebooted Fantastic Four and the rebooted X-Men are both going to be from a different Earth than Secret Wars. Soft reboots the MCU to where we now have the rebooted F4 and the X-Men in the main timeline. Very possible. Very possible. Oh, so he's a variant from a different universe. Like you said, variants. So he's not our main 6-1. So this is one thing. Dragon Trainer, RDJ's Doom is Prime Doom. Period. Will Doctor Doom variants pop up? Very possible. But Deadpool said in the film, Deadpool Prime here, right? So when it comes to variants, there's a Prime character, and then there's variants of that character. So RDJ's Doctor Doom will be Prime Doom.
If you don't believe us, by the way, read Infamous Iron Man seriously, and then come back and tell me what you think, because I'd be curious. I would love to hear from someone who right now, after Marvel confirmed it twice, that it's Victor Von Doom playing Doctor Doom. I would love to for someone who believes right now that they're doing Infamous Iron Man as Victor Von Doom, or even worse, they're doing Infamous Iron Man as Tony Stark. I would love to hear your thoughts after reading Infamous Iron Man.
I agree with Jerry to an extent, but I feel the reason they are using the multiverse is because now they have the X-Men, Fantastic Four, Spidey. They want a complete exactly.
It's Marvel.
Yeah, bro.
Better standards.
I disagree. Jerry, we said that. No, it's okay. I was trying to understand. Oh, bro, of course, bro. And look, we are trying to break down with the information that we know. You know what I mean? And that's the hard part, because there's not a lot of info that's been released, right? So we're kind of going off of just everything that we know based on comics and based on what was said. So
I like Amanda Waller. I mean, I'm cosplaying as Amanda Waller for New York Comic Con this year.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I got the costume on.
That is he's trolling you guys. Jerry would never cosplay as anything. Number one, if you see his tweets, you would understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right. Quick question: what are your thoughts on Amanda Waller TV series? Will be dark, more grounded, and it's going to connect to Batman Bane role. Yeah. So, I literally didn't want to report this because I'm going to be honest with you. This is one of the most pointless shows ever. I don't and I think
disagree.
that Amanda Waller is awesome, and I think she's a great character. I just don't, and my guess is that they're going to tie a bunch of characters to this show because that's kind of what I'm expecting. But just thinking of the name Amanda Waller series, it's just like, bro, come on, man.
I think there's more to it than that. Actually, I disagree, and I think that part of it that they're going to introduce characters, but I think a character like Amanda Waller who gets her own show is really good because this helps establish a lot of lore in the DCU. Amanda Waller is such a great character because she is a prime example of government corruption and how that gets in the way of both the villains and the heroes. And I think that the DCU being a new shared universe needs to establish its lore. I mean, there are characters in the MCU that are kind of like that. Not necessarily Nick Fury is not the perfect example, but a character like Nick Fury or Ross and the government. So I think this is going to establish lore, and especially for the fans that don't read the comics and don't really know the DC characters outside of the Justice League and Peacemaker. I think that this is good, and I think that DC. I'm not necessarily trying to say that they're rushing it because I don't think that's what they're doing, but I think that they want people to kind of feel that this is an expansive universe and they want them to feel that quickly. And I think that I think there is a lot of strategy behind the decision of the Amanda Waller show. That's what I think. I think it's a strategic decision.
Now, with that being said, right? This show only works, and I'm just keeping it real because the reality is this trailer, whatever this is, has to capture fans. If it doesn't capture fans, it's not going to do well viewership wise. And if the only way I see this working is if James Gunn puts characters that are very valued in the show. Okay. And I think the show literally lives and dies on that because I'm not trying to compare. Actually, I am. Because when we go to Marvel shows, right? There's certain shows, Jerry, where you and I both know Captain America isn't popping up. Like, we're not going to see Sam pop up in the show, right? We're not going to see freaking who else? Who else is a big player? We're not going to see Thor pop up in this show. It all in. And what I wrote down here is that is that I do think that I do think that the Amanda Waller show is going to involve some type of superhero team or or a team of important characters. And I personally, I'm just being real. Like, coming from a fan of Amanda Waller and the comic, grew up seeing her in the Justice League animated shows. She literally, bro, Bruce Wayne tried to press her. And she literally told that man his identity to his face, and he froze. But then, Batman got her back by just popping up in her house, and she was shook because Batman's him. But I think that you have to have integral characters that will be in this show to be able to capture the normal fan, and that's kind of the mindset that I'm thinking from, not necessarily from a true fan.
I also think that it's a possibility, not a prediction, just saying it's possible, that Amanda Waller has something to do with the Guy Gardner, Hawk Girl, Mr. Terrific team. That's obviously a team because they're all wearing the same pattern on their uniform. And when I say pattern, I don't mean like a checkers pattern. I mean the design pattern.
Yeah, it's all the same. The vest and
yeah, like the blocking pattern.
Yeah,
it's the same exact thing. So it's obvious that and because their costumes are identical in the pattern, it seems that they were distributed to them by the same person or entity. And it just seems like a terrible corporate costume. So I don't know if you not picking up what I'm putting down there, you're probably not going to get it if I spoke on it for another 10 seconds. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
Did you hear what don't stutter. Isabella Merced says she plays Hawk. She's going to be Hawk Girl.
No, I didn't see what she said.
So she confirmed that those are not their final suits.
Oh wow.
And she said that like the suits look way doper. So I am off topic. I am expecting a Superman legacy for there's probably gonna be a final scene or something where we see them in their actual costumes, which I'm pretty hyped for. Just wanted to put that out there. So yeah, I mean, I'm hyped for the Waller series. I just hope that there's a lot of good characters and tie-ins because the MCU the MCU is kind of building this culture of like we're not going to play our big characters in our shows. I hope James Gunn goes against that grain and puts big characters like in the shows, and we already see a sign of that, right? With obviously seeing having Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart in a TV show. A lot of fans understand that's a really big deal. Like that isn't something that you play with because these are this is a project that could literally be $1 billion movie, but they're putting it in a show. So James Gunn is already going against the grain there, and so as much as I fear that it could be successful, with the pattern that James Gunn is in. He's doing this, and I also want to say this too. I want to give James Gunn props because this dude is a workhorse. I literally sent Jerry this tweet the other day. J.J. Abrams, he's had a deal with WB for almost 5 years, and the only project that he worked on was his animated Batman show, which was not even more than 12 episodes. Versus James Gunn already finished Superman already. He's in pre-production for a Green Lantern show. He has 2 animated shows that are done, and then he's working on this Waller series that is about to be going out. Not to mention Batman, and I mean, shout out to James Gunn for getting this opportunity and not just squandering it and just collecting a paycheck.
And also, Marvel hasn't given us shows with A-list characters. We've gotten Loki. We got Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but
Wanda was the only one.
Winter Soldier was never an A-list character. Sam Wilson wasn't an A-list character at the time. Sorry, I hate to break it to you. Wanda's not an A-list character either.
Disagree.
She's never gotten her own movie, bro. She's not one of the top characters. You love her, that's fine.
You know how popular she is, bro? You know how popular the Scarlet Witch is to fans, bro?
Bro, that is crazy. I strongly disagree.
Hey guys, comment below. Am I tripping or not? Is Wanda an A-list character? Is the Scarlet Witch an A-list character? I think that the MCU made the Scarlet Witch an A-list character. I mean, if you saw the trending themes with this,
though, DC is giving us shows with A-list characters, and that's not something. Whether you want to say Wanda's an A-list character or not, it's not a typical thing of Marvel to do, and it's already something that DC is doing differently. And what's also interesting on that is they are still going to be selective with the A-list types of shows they give us. I think it's interesting because I also think that was the reason that Superman and Lois was canceled. Superman and Lois was canceled. It's a show that's on cable TV on the CW. It is great, but I don't think it is the caliber of content that DC wants to be putting on home screens. And I don't know if we're going to get characters like Superman or Batman, but Green Lantern is you could argue he's the 3rd biggest character on the Justice League. Obviously Batman and Superman are 1 and 2. But who else would be 3? If it's not Green Lantern, it's Aquaman, probably not. Flash, maybe an argument there. But, Green Lantern is my favorite other than Batman. And I think that's going to be incredible. And I also think it's a sign of what else is to come from DCU. And, you also have to keep in mind that both DC and Marvel have to keep some type of content flowing on the streamers. Because we have Max, which is HBO's thing, which is part of WB.
Such a dumb name, by the way. HBO Max was perfect. I loved HBO Max. We'll never understand.
Whatever. But and Disney Plus, and Disney's a little different because they are starting to scale back. I think they're like 2 shows a year is the thing that Feige and Brad Winderbaum said.
Thank goodness.
So they're gonna start giving us more animated content, which is welcome. I prefer to get a lot of
Live action, you're saying?
live action MCU content, but I don't want more MCU content if it's shows like Agatha and Ironheart. I'd rather get shows like Green Lantern type of characters, which we're going to get with DCU, which is sick. So it's another thing that I think is new. And it's also interesting that they're doing a show like Waller off the bat. Obviously Marvel didn't have Disney Plus till later, but what I'm trying to say here is I think that we're going to get a lot of things that are completely a new style of doing the shared universe from James Gunn, because James Gunn is a smart guy. And he knows that the DCU can't just be the DC version of the MCU. It has to stand tall on its own, do things that haven't been done before, and be a pioneer.
100%. All right, next topic here. I want to read you this Teen Titans and Justice League DC rumor, okay? And tell me what you think about it. Excuse me. The Teen Titans already existed in the DCU, and the movie will be about the team being revived. The Justice League also already existed in universe, and there will be a big film that will serve as the finale to this chapter, and it will be far more ambiguous than a simple superhero team up like a 5-man JL or a 6-man Avengers film, which is why the word is that Gunn will be writing and directing it himself. It will feature several factions and lots of characters, likely more than James Gunn has ever written likely more than Gunn has ever written for a project. But the Trinity will be the leads. Now, I don't want you to say I don't care about the whether if we think this is true or not, but like taking this rumor at face value, let's talk about the Teen Titans first, because we all know that with Brave and the Bold, we're getting Damian Wayne, and so we already know that some time has passed in this universe. Would you be okay with a Nightwing leading Damian Wayne type of Teen Titans team going into this, or would you kind of want like maybe like a flashback film of like Dick Grayson as Robin?
I kind of think that I feel like Dick Grayson has to be Nightwing, and I think that they're going to make him Nightwing for a number of reasons. Number one, they've already told us that Damian Wayne is playing Robin. Number two, DC has really, really wanted to make Nightwing a bigger and more popular character, and they already have set it up where it's like the perfect setup to start with Nightwing. So I think we're going to see Nightwing.
Okay. Bet. And I also agree. I think that, you and I have both said that we both think that Damian Wayne is like the most fun addition to this DCU. You and I remember we didn't even think that this was we thought it was going to be a wow until we got Damian Wayne. So, and I think that Damian Wade adds a lot of spice to this team. I really want to see Beast Boy done right, man. I really want to see Beast Boy done right. Beast Boy is one of my favorite characters. And make Cyborg a teenager again, please. Don't put him in the original Justice League team, please. For the love of crud, make him a teenager. So I really hope that we get a lot of those traditional, characters in their teenager. I mean, can't wait to see Starfire. Give her orange skin, like just like how it was in back in the day.
I think she had orange skin in Titans.
Yep. So, like I really am looking for like the traditional Titans team, but I do agree with what you were saying, like the same way how the DC comics are putting Nightwing on this pedestal. The DCU can do that, but I think that with him leading the Titans, it makes fun. By the way, make the Nightwing suit red, please. Give me the red suit, the all black with the red. That would be fire. So yeah, man, I am pretty hyped for Teen Titans, bro. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah. Would you want Kid Flash in there?
No, because until we have Flash confirmed, let's care about that first,
Mhm.
And I really hope it's Barry Allen.
I hope it's Wally West.
A lot of people are saying that.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is because I mean he said that he's going off of the old school Justice League animateds, and Wally was the Flash. But the funny thing though, bro, is that I remember growing up, dude. We all thought it was Barry Allen until he unmasked himself and Bruce Wayne said you're Wally West. We all thought it was Barry at first. Like we
Where,
didn't know.
where was that?
So in the Justice League animated show, it's on Max, right? When you
From
first
like what era? I'm trying to see if I was a kid when this was coming out.
I was let me see what year this came out. Justice League. Hold on. Animated show release.
Definitely wasn't the one I watched if you were watching it when you were a kid.
So this was 2001. So I started watching this when I came in during Justice League Unlimited, and then I ended up watching back with like all my friends, right? And that was when we found out that Barry, because in Justice League Unlimited, no one said that this Flash was Wally West. So when we went back and watched it, he said he was Wally. And we were like, what the frick? So this is your era.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember, but I don't think I was watching it like that closely when I was a kid.
Yeah.
When I was like a kid and watching superhero TV, we didn't have DVR yet.
Yeah. But bro, if you were to watch it, bro, like if you were to watch the Justice League show, you would think it's Barry. Like there's no deviation in personality. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's literally the same, it's literally the same character. They just changed the name. So it's whatever. All right. No, now how do you feel about this Justice League thing? About the Justice League has already existed. I do feel a little weird about that. And I hope that this part of the rumor, bro, is not true because I would love for the Justice League to start with Superman and Batman and the original gang. How would you feel if how would you feel if Superman isn't one of the people that started this? Because we do know that in the Superman film, he's kind of like the new guy on the block. So, like, wouldn't that be weird to you?
I think that would actually be really cool. At
Really?
first, it kind of sounded
Please
like,
explain to me.
because if they do that, they get to fill in the backstory later, and it adds a whole other. It adds all this time that's like a mysterious lore that will unfold as the universe proceeds. So we'll learn more about the past as we're going to the future. Like, I think that would actually be really cool if done right.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong here, because now I'm feeding off of your thoughts. So
I know, because at first it's like that sounds stupid.
yeah,
But then
yeah.
when you think about it, like
I
that
just
could
opened
be,
up my mind. Yeah,
yeah.
I never thought of it that way. So think about this, bro. So like what? So you're thinking like the Green Lantern comes back to Earth and there's beef with the Green Lantern and Batman, and Superman's like, why is there beef? Like something like that. So and then there's like a whole backstory of like something that happened that broke up the
I'm
team.
talking even more intricate than that. I'm talking like, you know, think about like Avengers having like Age of Ultron and like a story like that from the past, and we're going to the future, and then there's like, oh well, how about that time, with Lobos, or some like epic grandstanding villain, and there was a whole Avengers movie or Justice League movie from the past, but they're back filling it in through backstories. Like, I think that would be really cool. And it's something that hasn't been done before. Like, that would make the DCU, like watching these movies, feel fresh, new. And it could, like, that's a really, really creative move. And the strategy behind it, I think it's actually genius.
You just cook there. That's a cooking idea, which I didn't even see from that point of view. And it can even be now. Dang, I hate you because now all these theories are going to mind. Ugh. I gotta write this down. But now it has me thinking, bro, of like, what if James Gunn is building Superman to be the missing piece to bring the team together? And that might be what you know
Yeah.
going on there. Interesting take. And
Right.
see, guys,
Or Superman's part of the Justice League, and he already knows Batman, and he already knows the Green Lanterns, and it would make sense because Green Lantern is older. So if Green Lantern is older and he's been around for a while, he must have a history, and that could be part of it.
Yeah, and what if Hal does play like I don't want to say the old head, but like the mentor. You know what I mean? That would be fire. Like for the league though, and like, and I'm not saying like he's like telling Superman how to like be a hero, but he's the guy that knows everything that happened because he was there from the start. That'll be a very interesting situation there. And wow, man, and oh man, that will build Hal to be a very important character. That would be very interesting.
I'm not saying necessarily that's how it's going to be, but it's one of the ways it could go down.
No, but like it would be very interesting if like James Gunn is like really like on the How train.
Yeah,
because it's kind of seen like from my opinion, it seems like James Gunn really likes the Green Lanterns. It really
100%.
does.
And listen, he's a comic guy, so anyone who reads comics, how can you not like the Green Lanterns? They're just like
dude, you made me read like the whole thing, and I was like, yeah, this is one of the best comics I've ever read in my life. And to be honest, I can't even watch the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie no more after reading those. It just, it's crazy.
I need to rewatch that movie. I gotta say, when that movie came out, like I didn't hate it like everyone else.
I loved it. By the way, I love the suits. I think his suit is fire. I ain't gonna lie. I think his suit is awesome.
It's funny. So there is a fan fiction movie being made of the Green Lantern, and there is a picture. I think it was Heroic Hollywood who posted it, and I was like, all the comments were like glazing the suit. I thought it looked terrible. Yeah, and I wrote like,
well, dude, did you see the new one that they posted?
I commented. I was like, the Green Lantern suit needs to be CGI. I wrote something like that. And so many people were like, first of all, I still get likes on that post, like on that comment till this day. And people are like, why? And I'm basically like, if you don't understand why the Green Lantern suit needs to be CGI, like you don't know Green Lantern.
Well, dude, look what I'm about to DM you, because from that same project, the Justice League, look what Heroic Hollywood. And this is why, bro, Heroic Hollywood, it shows that you guys get paid to freaking post this crap. Look at this Martian Manhunter. It looks terrible, dude. It looks so.
Oh, is it
the Justice League Mortal?
Oh my god, that.
But they post it like it's fire.
It's so crazy. It looks horrible.
Like, bro, he looks like Palpatine, bro, but just green.
This looks like first of all, it looks like it's out of a video game and it's practical, which is crazy. And yeah, it looks terrible. Bro, Zack Snyder's was so much sicker.
Supergirl had a good Manhunter too. Like the
show
W Supergirl, yeah, their one's fire. All right, let's read
that. Is so bad. Oh my god.
Yeah, bro. I'm telling Superman 2025 will be the movie of the year. Sorry, Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts, Captain America. That's very possible. Very possible. I think Captain America and Fantastic Four, those are two pretty big contenders. But if Superman lands in all the areas, it could be a very big movie. And I honestly, bro, I hope that this Superman movie is very successful. We've given our projections. We don't think it's going to hit $1 billion. Doesn't mean that this movie isn't going to be successful and profitable. The Batman didn't even hit that. So, and it's still a great film. So, we hope that it sees success. Yeah, I think Gunn wants to establish Dick Grayson as Nightwing. So a flashback of him as Robin after a movie with Damian Wayne as Robin wouldn't look good.
That's a great point. Like 100%. That would be one of the cool flashbacks. And by the way, I'm not saying that all of it is going to be flashback. Like, I think some of, say they do it where the Justice League is formed, and we start the DCU with a Justice League that was pre-established. I think some of that backstory is going to be filled via dialogue, some of it by flashback, some of it by, they might encounter a villain that had something to do with the past, or, like, there are different ways to fill in that backstory.
Yeah.
Thinking it's all going to be flashback, I think would be
That'll be corny.
Yeah, I think that would be an oversight
and very uncreative.
Yeah.
Okay. Next topic. Sydney Sweeney has reportedly been offered the role of Black Cat. So obviously you guys know who Sydney Sweeney is. We all know who Sydney Sweeney is. Jerry, could you see Sydney Sweeney playing the Black Cat in Spider-Man?
100%. You need a girl that looks like that to play Black Cat, number one. Number two, it's genius because one of the things that the Spider-Man home MCU franchise has had the benefit of is Zendaya. Zendaya helps sell tickets. Sydney Sweeney will also help sell tickets. On top of the fact that she's obviously super talented. She's obviously gorgeous. She obviously has the aesthetic to play Black Cat. And yeah, I think that it's like a perfect casting. And it's funny because literally the other day I was thinking, like, we don't get enough, like, everything is MJ all the time. Like, give us Gwen or Black Cat. So I'm happy they're going with Black Cat. We obviously have never had Black Cat in live action. I would like to see some more Gwen, but hey, if Sydney Sweeney is going to play Black Cat, that's got me excited.
She'll be a good Gwen Stacy too. Just saying, she can play either of those roles.
Great point.
Yeah, I think that if she plays Black Cat, she's going to be what Margot is to Harley Quinn. Like, I think it will be. And by the way, one of the biggest fumbles in casting history is what they did to Margot as Harley Quinn. That was such a good casting that got completely wasted, which is crazy, bro. Yeah. Anyways, but yeah,
Zack Snyder's fault.
Huh?
Zack Snyder's fault.
100%. So yeah, man.
I was kidding, but I just wanted to.
No. It is Zach's fault, bro.
Oh, okay.
It is. It is because I didn't want to get into this, bro. I don't want to get into it.
Yeah, we don't need.
Yeah. We are way past that drama now. By the way, that drama has been literally like going back on X, but I think because the hate for the MCU is harder now than it was.
Bro, we will be in like 2050, and they'll be saying, "Sell the Snyderverse."
Yeah. Next, they're going to say they're going to be, "Oh, T-Mobile's buying the rights to the Snyderverse." Sprint is buying the rights to the Snyderverse.
You can only watch it on your cell phone.
Yeah. Rebel Moon Part 75 out now.
Netflix is not giving, bro. They'll be lucky if they get another Rebel Moon.
Dude, no, yeah, it performed bad, bro. It performed really bad.
Let's skip it though. We're not going down.
Yeah, right. Okay, so I am excited for Sydney Sweeney. I hope that she gets this role, man. And as you said, look, we're in the era of TikTok. I mean, we're in the era of the clips. You and I were talking about how we've already seen a 1,000 clips of Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby already. And I think that's going to be a lot to the Fantastic Four successes. Their chemistry is going to be big for the memes, So
we are in the era of you are a bad person if you didn't like The Acolyte.
What's that got to do with Sydney Sweeney being Black Cat?
Oh, when you said the TikTok era,
you're just making a generalized statement. I was like, what the heck is that? Okay. But yeah, guys, we are in the clips era, right? And there's the Mariah Carey song with Pedro and Vanessa. I expect to see the same thing with Sydney Sweeney and Tom Holland. And it's going to be funny because, that would just be so funny, bro. It will be freaking hilarious. Because if Tom Holland is able to literally kiss both Sydney Sweeney and Zendaya, he's him. He's him. Anyways, okay. Now, let's go to some Spider-Verse drama, Sony Spider-Verse drama. So I want to talk about some stuff that is going on. So just to give you guys kind of pre-context to this whole thing, right? Now, we can all agree that the Spider-Verse is probably the greatest Spider-Man content that we've ever seen in our lives. Okay, it is 100% some of the greatest content. Now, the Spider-Verse movies were written by two people, Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. By the way, a common theme, Jerry, that is always a co-duo that writes the best superhero films. Russo Bros and these two, and Jerry and I are next, maybe the next like 15 years. Anyways, so the studio and the duo has endured a heated fight over the budget of the Spider Noir series. Okay. The duo was also set to reboot Spider-Man for television, and Sony is not expected to renew their contract with these two. Now, for Sony, this is not good news. Number one, because the Spider-Verse is something that you would want to build off of even after you do the third film. So, with bringing on different writers, it's the odds are just not in their favor. I do, Jerry, have a couple questions because here's the interesting thing. You know that Disney owns the animated rights for Spider-Man?
I didn't know that.
Yes. That is why, the animated Spider-Man shows are all on Disney Plus because they own that. And what would be funny is if Feige recruits them to write the animated Spider-Man original show and to bring them back. That's one scenario. A second scenario, he could bring them back to write Spider-Man 4, which will also be another interesting thing. And a third scenario, James Gunn could literally hire them to work for the DCU. So there's like a few possible, and I only say that because they did propose a Batman Beyond animation film that got canned. Like they literally said no. And it could be possible that James Gunn could be communicating with them possibly if they don't renew their contract. But so how do you feel about this? Second question is, do you think that this can spur opportunities for them to work with Kevin Feige to maybe write Spider-Man 4 or to work on some other projects?
Yeah, first of all the options you listed, like them doing Spider-Man 4 is the one that I would most want to happen. I think, oh man, that would be incredible. Number two, I think it's interesting that we're talking about the Sony animated Spider-Verse universe being expanded without Spider-Man, while it's okay to criticize Sony for doing the villain movies without Spider-Man. So I'm gonna defend Sony on that point because you're a little hypocritical there.
How am I hypocritical when the Spider-Verse has Spider-Man? What are you talking about?
Because at the end of the Spider-Verse trilogy, they're not going to have Spider-Man, and how are they going to expand on it without Spider-Man?
Because you would just do a bunch of films with all the Spider-Man variants.
I guess you could do that.
Like you could do like a Spider-Man 2099 show to give Miguel O'Hara's back. I mean, kind of like just a backfill. Give me a Gwen Stacy Spider show, like you know what I mean?
Fair point. Listen, I think that these writers are going to find a good job. Like they, didn't work out with Sony. I also don't think that if I were Sony, like I wouldn't want to pay them what I paid them to make the Spider-Verse movies to do a Spider-Man 2099 movie. I don't think a Spider-Man 2099 movie is going to sell like a Miles Morales movie. As much as I would love to see a Spider-Man 2099 movie that was written by the same writers, like, let's be real here. Spider-Man 2099 is going to be seen as a spin-off character. So, listen, they're going to get a good job. They're obviously like world-renowned writers at this point. I hope Sony figures something else out because I would like to see more from this universe. Wasn't it the writers or the anime? What were these the guys that went to DC with the bat? Okay, so yeah, these guys are hustlers. It's interesting that DC turned that down, and they're also not getting the deal they want at Sony. That's interesting because these guys are obviously the real deal.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Feige or Gunn pick them up. I hope Feige does for Spider-Man 4, though.
Yeah. I think that from a, thinking from a corporate aspect, right? Think about this, bro. Like, let's be detectives for a moment. Let's gather information, right? Think about this, bro. In the Spider-Verse films, they require a lot, okay? A lot of IP, I mean a lot of stuff. I mean, they literally took every version of Spider-Man from the very first animated Spider-Man. And I think that maybe the problem could be with them is that they're requiring so much from the studio that they're not willing to bend for that.
Right.
Like, and they were like, maybe like they got so much from the Spider-Verse films, like they were able to use whatever they wanted. And my guess is probably with Spider-Man Noir, they expected the same thing. And Sony's like, we can't swing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe that might be where the disagreements are coming in, possibly. Because I mean, Spider-Verse, I mean, bro, the IP that is used is insanity. I mean, they had a PS4 Spider-Man in the freaking movie. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
That could be possible drama for them. And that could have maybe been the same thing with Batman Beyond. Maybe they wanted to do Spider-Verse, but with Batman Beyond. Like, we don't know what, So, but their little formula that they have, it is very special. And Jerry, it's something that we've never seen. And I ever since you and I have talked, because you and I talked about, it's possible that they might be moving off of the Devil's Reign story, right? And that we might get a multiversal Spider-Man film. I think that those are perfect guys you want to do. If you want to do a multiversal Spider-Man 4, those are the guys you go with there. So we'll see what happens. All right. Now, the most anticipated topic of the night, Kraven.
Yeah.
So, Jerry, how did you feel about the Kraven trailer?
I think it looks good. I think this movie looks good. I think that everyone's kind of writing it off like early because of Sony's track record, but this is a new project. It's not, I'm pretty sure it's not directed by the same person. I think Aaron Taylor Johnson is an underrated talent. Like, I think he is someone that, depending on the next couple of movies he does, like, he could hit that level that kind of Glenn Powell's at right now. And I think this movie could surprise a lot of people.
So the guy that directed Kraven did direct Morbius.
Oh, okay. No, I don't think. Listen, I think the trailer looks good. But I have no faith in the guy that put.
Actually, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. He worked on the film. He was not the main director. So sorry. He worked on the film. So that's a whole different thing. It's a whole different thing. Yeah. But he did help on the film. But I don't really blame people that help on films, because you don't know what that help.
Yeah, and I also think Kraven is like, listen, I like Morbius. I think Morbius is a good character, but I think Kraven is a better character for a standalone solo movie than Morbius is.
Yeah. So let's talk about the director, right? J.C. Chandor. Sony likes this guy. I've heard that Sony does like him. Okay. So, and my guess is that, Jerry, they want Kraven to be like Venom, to where it'll make a nice 500 million, 400 mil, and you could just make an easy 3 films, make a profitable number, and call it a day. You guys know where I stand, right? I am anti these type of films. I think that it is an abomination, because you're taking this away from Spider-Man. We could have gotten Kraven's Last Hunt or something like that, and it's really a shame that we're getting this stupid origin film, and you're wasting people like Russell Crowe, who was just wasted in Thor: Love and Thunder, by the way. Now he's playing Kraven's father. I mean, I think that this is a abomination on all fours, and but in reality, I mean, at this point, who cares? Everyone knows that Sony, is a joke when it comes to these types of films. I just hope that there's a lot of action, and I just hope that it's an enjoyable film. Even though I don't agree with what that they're doing, I hope that it's just a fun movie, and it's not like Madam Web. Just give me action, give me some blood, give me some fighting, and I'll call it a day. And that's just how I feel, man. I don't expect this film to be like the greatest film I've ever seen in my life. I don't think you expect that either. We just expect to be fed some cool stuff and call it a day. And it's just a shame that he's not in a Spider-Man story. And I just it really pisses me off that there's so much ego in the room that they can't get these characters over to be with Spider-Man. And that's
Yeah.
just what pisses me off because like at the end of the day, we're the ones that lose because we're not seeing the character in their actual true form. Because in their truest form, they will be with Spider-Man. So it just sucks, man.
Yeah.
So um
I agree. And it's like Sony wants to do something because they have the rights and they got to use the rights to keep the rights, kind of thing. If you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is because I feel like if I were Sony, I would be making movies. But like at the same time, don't the Spider-Verse movies count as movies that they made? Like, I don't know. So maybe I need to learn how the whole thing works. But I'll tell you this: if I were Sony and like I couldn't make a Spider-Man movie without Marvel, and I still needed to make movies, I would be making movies too. So I don't think it's as like I think everyone's just like, oh, Sony should just like stop making movies. Like it's not that simple. They paid money for these rights. They have these rights. They are a business, and it's not like so black and white.
Yeah. So I want to give a shout out to Marvel. I think it's the new show is called MCU Fan Show. I stopped listening because it got a little too political for my liking personally. Just being real with you guys. But shout out to Sean Gerber and Paul Herman. Paul Herman is someone that I actually am cool with. Him and I DM from time to time. I really want to have him on the show. He has a channel called The Comic Binge where they literally just like talk about comics for hours on end. Cool channel. But yeah, bro, it's a super cool channel. And I want to give them a shout out, Jerry, because they're the ones that inspired me to podcast and to do this show. Like they were my main
Oh wow.
inspiration, bro, because they did this whole thing called The Road to Infinity War, bro, where they each week they literally broke down every Marvel movie leading up to Avengers and Infinity War, and they set it up to where each week led to the day before the movie had come out. And I'm going to send you, Jerry, that podcast stretch, because that is probably the greatest that is the greatest group of movie breakdowns I've ever heard in my life. Like they probably do the best movie breakdowns ever. I'm not even gonna hold you. But anyways, I say all of that to say Sean Gerber literally said in 2017 or in 2018, he literally said all Sony has to do. He said, why can't we have two different Spider-Man? How come we can't have a Spider-Man in the Sony universe and a Spider-Man in the freaking MCU?
Yeah.
Like
Seriously.
you've already built up
I've said this, by the way.
Yeah,
I
bro.
said this.
And the thing is, Jerry, is like you spend all this time to make Miles Morales the guy. We finally accept him, bring him into the live action, make it happen.
I told you how I think that's going down.
Yeah, how he's going to go through. And I hope that they continue to keep doing that live action, but this should have happened years ago. Honestly, after if I was Sony, because Sony, I would have been greedy for some money. After Spider-Verse 1, I would have been go to live action. I would have said, screw the trilogy. I would have made it behind.
Yeah.
No. All right. Now the next topic is this. Okay, so I want to talk about. I didn't even.
Sorry,
you're good. I want to talk about Avengers Endgame because Avengers Endgame gets a lot of smut on its name, and I want to come here to give it some respect. Okay. First off, Avengers Endgame isn't better than Infinity War. That's public knowledge here. Like we know that Infinity War is the greatest comic book film of all time. I mean, like literally of all time. Of all time. Infinity War is literally a comic book movie. Like if you open up a comic and you want to watch a movie, it's Infinity War. It's literally insane. Okay. But I do think that Avengers Endgame plays its role the best way. And I think it is the perfect ending because Avengers Endgame as a movie, it takes you through the decade that we've been through as they're going back in time. And I do think that the final battle is one of the most emotional battles that we've ever seen in films. And so, yes, there are some, plot points to where it kind of digs its own holes and all of that. But I do think all in all, the point of Avengers Endgame was to end this era of the MCU, and I think it did it in the best way. So why do you think Avengers Endgame is such an important film?
First of all, I want to say I think Infinity War is better than Endgame, but I would still give both movies a perfect 10.
100%.
The other thing is, I think Endgame is like, it's so incredible. It was so cool to see the characters go back and fight two different Thanoses, or like, that was really cool. And the time traveling and and the final battle scene is it's not just emotional, it's incredible. Also, side shout out, God of War Ragnarok. I mean, that like battle Ragnarok scene at the end, it felt very Avengers Endgame.
Really?
Yeah. Also, like, I don't want to say a theory, but whenever there is like a movie that is a comic book movie and they have the board and you see the headshots on a screen of the characters, obvious callback to the comics. Why am I blanking on where DC has done it? But Marvel has done it in the Infinity War. They've done it in Days of Future Past. And like when the Avengers meet in the beginning and they're, you see the like hologram board with the faces on it, like that shit gives me chills.
Yeah.
It is so sick. And like just all the scenes, like when just like when they travel through time, and even Hawkeye and Natasha Romanoff, Iron Man with Captain America. Like, I don't want to go through all the details of the movie, but it is the perfect ending. It's a phenomenal movie. I'm shocked that people don't think it's an important or great movie. Like, that's crazy to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are people really saying that, or is it just one person that
No,
was
no, no. So a lot of, for some reason, because me personally, I view them both as one movie. If that makes
Yeah.
sense. Like, I don't really view them separately, because the after Infinity War was the biggest question mark year of my life. Like, what the hell is about to happen? And when Avengers Endgame turns on, Jerry, I've never locked in that much in my life on a movie where, like, and I'm pretty sure you were the same way. That when Avengers Endgame came on, your eyes were just glued for 3 hours. Mind you, we got 3 hours of content, bro.
Yeah.
It was 3 hours.
That and Infinity War, and I still watch them both like literally all the time.
Same, bro. I literally just had on Endgame on Saturday. I freaking
I had Infinity War on it. That's
and like and when you have people over, it's the greatest movie to turn on because everybody's gonna watch it,
Yeah.
And people even do the thing where Tony snaps his fingers when the ball drops. I mean, like, this movie is a staple in human history.
My only complaint about Endgame is that Spider-Man was only in it at the end. Like, I just want to
Dude. Yeah. If that reunion was earlier, it would have been really fire.
By the way, like, now I realize it looking back, but Captain Marvel is a character failure in the MCU. Like, we talk about Spider-Man supposed to be the center of the MCU.
Yep.
She was supposed to be the center of the MCU, and it like completely fell flat.
Yeah. Why did the Russos write her better than anyone else?
Yeah.
Like,
I also think Thor, like, in Endgame, remember when in the beginning before they went to Thanos' garden, and he walks over to her.
I like this one. Yeah.
He's like real manly, and he's like scared. I like this. Now looking back on it, and I didn't realize it at the time, but looking back on it, like, that was agenda driven. They had to get the manliest man in the room to give his approval of the new strong female.
I think that's fire, bro. I
I
thought it
mean,
was
it
fire.
worked. It worked.
Yeah,
It
I
worked.
thought it was
But
fire because
it was definitely intentional. It wasn't just written because it was part of the movie and was a good part of the movie. Like, it was intentional.
yeah, I wouldn't say agenda though, because I think that it was like the most powerful Avenger is meeting the most powerful Avenger, and he's like, yeah.
That's fair. Listen, I liked Captain Marvel. Like, I wish Captain Marvel didn't fail. I'm probably one of the only people that
100%.
like the Captain Marvel movie. I shouldn't say one of the only people, but like, it feels like everyone rips on that movie. I love that movie. I wanted Captain Marvel to have a bigger role in the MCU, and I thought she would. You know,
Yeah. And bro, after Endgame and Shang-Chi, she had some good setups. I ain't gonna lie. Like the setup was fire because I mean, in Shang-Chi, they're building her up to be like, okay, like we know that she's like really trying to make moves, and then you go to like the Marvels, and it's like, okay, we're Jerry, the floor is yours. I don't agree with her take, so I'm gonna let you cook. Go ahead, bro.
yo, Gambit just felt like a parody in Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, I don't think that was Gambit. I don't think Channing Tatum played the part well, regardless of whether he was written that way or it was on him. I think for most people it worked in the movie because it's a Deadpool and Wolverine movie, and because it's like Deadpool is a bit of a satire and fourth wall and all of that. Like, but when like even when Deadpool was like, who is your dialect coach? Like, you sound like crap. What's funny is a lot of the comments I got on Threads were all like, oh, like, you didn't get it. Like, bro, they literally spelled it out for you and you didn't get it. So don't tell me I didn't get it. And I wasn't sure when I was watching it. I was like, is his accent supposed to be bad? And like, apparently a bunch of people on TikTok were like, oh, the accent was great. The accent wasn't good. They even made a joke about how it wasn't good in the movie. And when they made that joke, I was like, A, glad that they confirmed that it wasn't just me. But B, I was like, oh, so that it really is like a silly version of Gambit. And it wasn't like, I don't know, it just wasn't like the mysterious, suave Gambit that I know from the comics. So I didn't enjoy it. I don't want to see Channing Tatum as Gambit ever again. And that's what I got.
So you didn't like the fighting scenes?
The fighting was fine. That's not my issue. I mean his personality as
Just
Gambit.
the dialogue, all that stuff. I get it. I get it. Yeah, okay.
And then another thing is, like, I feel like a lot of people, like, another scary thing. I shouldn't say another, because I didn't say anything scary, but something that is almost scary to like see on the Threads comments, where how a lot of the defense of Channing Tatum's Gambit was like, oh, he looks just like him, or oh, come on, the costume was perfect. Like, that is not what I'm talking about. Like, a character portrayal in a movie, you don't get to defend that with the costume. Like, the costume is important, but that doesn't impact the portrayal of
when it comes to the MCU, yes, because in the MCU we expect the costumes to be perfect. It's the MCU. I mean, that's what they're known for.
But like,
no, bro, I'm agreeing.
Oh,
I'm agreeing.
okay.
I'm saying like having good costumes is a given. I mean, it's the MCU, bro. When I mean, it's been rare that we gotten a bad costume from a group of people or from the MCU. So costumes are, I mean, and that's the whole point. And one of the biggest points of the Fox and the Fox characters coming over is that they get the comic accurate costume. That's the biggest piece of it. So obviously, yeah. So I definitely understand your point. Now, I honestly just don't care personally, because I just think that the cringe level was supposed to work. I know how you operate. So I understand why you don't like that, because I get it. Don't worry. I understand, because in your eyes they didn't do Blade like that. They didn't do Elektra like that. So your thing is like, why would they do Gambit like that?
Yeah.
So I got you, bro. I got
Yeah.
you. Okay.
Blade a little bit, but like it wasn't so on the nose.
Yeah. We can't say the word, but the first word he said, I was crying. We can't say it, but
Yeah.
I'll
But
tell you what.
are we gonna talk the Blade rumor?
No, but we should do a solo video on it this week
Okay. Down.
because I need to like actually like read it. Because wait, is it about the Keith Stanfield?
Oh, well, I read that it's either him or Wesley Snipes.
Let's do a solo on that.
Okay.
But because let me just gather some more guys. We're going to record a Blade joint tomorrow. That's what we're going to do.
Let's do it Thursday.
Thursday, we will record a Blade movie. And to make it better for you guys, we will live stream it. We won't even pre-record it. We will do it live to make it more fun. Okay. Now, I need another rant, another rant. I need another explanation out of you, and then we'll cover some acolyte, and then we are done here. So I know you are big on Namor. I love Namor in Wakanda Forever, but you especially made a really big threat post, which made a lot of views. Talking about why Namor was a great character. So why number one, because you have to give the fans context. Why are you such a fan of Namor? And then number two, why do you think that this guy lines up with the comic accurate Namor, and why you're so happy with his casting in the MCU?
So first of all, I love Namor. I think first of all, he's like Marvel's like OG anti-hero. He's got really unique powers in terms of, underwater, flight, superhuman strength. He is not just the king of Atlantis, but he's also a mutant. And he is the king of attitude, super defiant, arrogant, like just my kind of guy. And I just think he looks badass too, but he really is like absolutely savage, doesn't give a F, does what he wants, bends everything to his will, and he will always do what's in his interest and mutants' interests. And the perfect example, nobody had the balls to use the antimatter injection system, which is what Reed and the Illuminati built to kill the other Earth. So incursion towards collide, either they both die or only one dies. They create the antimatter injection system to kill the other Earth before it collides to save their Earth. None of them end up having the balls to use it except for Namor. And that is so Namor. But Namor is the man. And I thought Tena Huerta was great as Namor just because he had such a commanding presence, super charismatic, really balanced the vulnerability, but the ruthlessness of the character. And, his the action. I thought he looked great in it. I thought he played great. I thought he was great with Shuri, but at the same time killed Shuri's mom. Like he really was that guy. And a lot of people were like, "Oh, well, he doesn't look like him." I disagree. I think he does look like him for a Hispanic person. I don't like what they did in terms of changing his heritage from Atlantean to Talakanese, if that's the way to say it. But they did it. It is what it is. It's annoying that they did. I know it's annoying. They always do it. But they did do it. And I still think he was a great character. And I'm glad they didn't kill him off because I want to see him again. And I think that, he should be on the Illuminati because he is in the comics. And he's that's one of the things that's so cool about the Illuminati is it's not all heroes. And you do get characters like that sometimes they worry might be acting in bad faith, or sometimes you need someone who's not a hero who's okay to do something as savage as use the antimatter injection device. Like you need heroes. And also a lot of the times the best villains are the ones that aren't just flat out villains. Like people like Magneto, Namor, Doctor Doom, like all of them aren't just flat out villains, and they're a lot more complex and nuanced and difficult to define. And Namor is another one of those. You're mute.
I agree with everything you say. I mean, I agree with all that. I mean, I think Namor is one of the best casting that they've done, and I agree that and I understand what they were trying to do, but if you dive deep on Wakanda, why didn't you do the same? Because my whole thing was like it just wasn't consistent. Because if that was the case, why didn't you make Wakanda? Why didn't you just change the name of Wakanda to like Nigeria? Then, if you're going to do that, right? You know what I mean? Like it just didn't feel consistent. But
So
whatever, I'll let it go.
the reason they gave was because they didn't want to, I think,
Oh, the
confuse fans
Aquaman.
because
Yeah,
that's so ridiculous.
corny.
And I said that to someone on Twitter. I was like, that's like saying we have to rename New York City because it was in King Kong. Like,
Yeah.
it was an obvious decision. We all know why they did it. And then you get the fans who are like not comic fans, but they're MCU fans, and they're like, oh, well, if you don't like it, like that's like a discriminatory thing. I'm like, I'm not discriminatory. And I even said to the girl, I was like, listen, I'm glad for you that you got to appreciate representation. Like, I understand that. Like, I like my representation too. Like, and I totally get it. I like the comics. Like, and she was like, oh, and then about the child, she was like, well, and she was actually cool. And like, we followed each other, but she was like, you wouldn't have said that about Iron Man. And I'm like, I've actually said that about Iron Man. I'd be cool with him being recasted on the podcast multiple times. So, but I get both sides because there are also a lot of fans that probably do not like it for those reasons. And, and they do, I think there's both sides. Like, I think there's a lot of people who like, so there's a lot of projects that are like agenda driven. And there are the fans on Threads who will probably say something like, oh, well, people didn't like it because it was political or had an agenda. Okay, but there's also people that only liked it for those reasons. If you're complaining about one thing coming from one side, it must be true on the other too. So,
yeah. I mean, so like, because the way that I feel with things like Black Panther and Namor, I see it more as an honoring of the culture of the Pacific culture, because it didn't feel yeah versus where the Marvels felt like agenda. You know what I mean? Like it felt more of like an honoring. The only issue I have is the underwater scenes were terrible. The underwater scenes were so bad. Oh my gosh. I would love for someone like James Wan to come in and help, because I do think the underwater scenes with Aquaman were better. And the main issue that I had is that just the underwater Talo concept was just too dark. It was like it was so dark underwater, and I understand that's realistic because underwater it is super dark, but like I wanted more light and more color added to
I thought it
Talokan.
was so cool. Especially my favorite was the actress. I know her name because she was in How to Make It in America, which is a great show. But her name's Lake Bell, and she was on like the research team, and they put that submersible in the water, and the light went out, and it was almost like a little horror-y like that. And I'm not a horror guy, but like that was super cool to me. And a lot of people were like, oh, well, that looked like nothing like Namor. Like, bro, even in the promo image, like they took that like exact pose from the comics. Like,
Yeah. Can we also talk about that for a second?
Yeah.
I really want to talk about this because Chris Evans, ScarJo, Chris Hemsworth, they don't necessarily look like the original comic book character. They don't. Okay. And I think that there's certain features that they have that make it work. Like when it comes to casting for a character, you're not always going to find the person that looks exactly like them. The question is, can they act? Do they look enough to be that character? And can they act enough in the personality? That's why I
So
like Pedro.
I have the best example. I have the
Go
best
ahead.
example.
Who's an example?
Daniel Craig, James Bond. Okay.
Exactly.
When they casted him, people lost their minds. And I've even seen Barbara Broccoli, the James Bond producer, say how, people were just so unfair to him. And, he hit it well, but I could tell it really got to him. And I remember, and I was a kid when this happened. I remember, all these people are idiots. Let's give this guy a shot. If they picked him, I'm sure he's great. And we got arguably the best Bond of all time. So, and you're not going to find someone that looks identical to the characters. And it's interesting that people will say that about someone like Namor, but they don't say it when Jonathan Majors plays Kang, So, and I don't know why. I'm not making any kind of implication here. But it's interesting to me that you complain about it for Namor, but you don't complain about it with Kang. And, you're right. Steve Rogers, Chris Evans doesn't really look like Steve Rogers. RDJ definitely looks like Tony Stark.
Yeah, but ScarJo doesn't look like comic Natasha. Chris Evans doesn't look like comic Thor. I mean, but the reason why is because these characters embody who they are. It doesn't matter if they look exactly like them, and and that's why I really don't care.
Enough.
Yeah, and that's why I don't care if Pedro Pascal has a stash on it, because the question is, can this guy
I disagree with, because that's an optional thing. They could shave the mustache. That I disagree with.
But at the end of the day, mustache or not, the question is, can this guy embody the character? And when it comes to Namor, this dude embodies Namor's personality and who he is.
Why can't they just I don't understand how you could defend the mustache when they could just shave the mustache. It seems to me the question to be asking is,
Thunderbolt Ross, he doesn't have his stash. No one cares.
What?
Thunderbolt Ross doesn't have his stash.
Thunderbolt Ross isn't as iconic of a character as
Red Hawk. I'm kidding. I'm joking. I'm not going to act like he is. I'm joking, bro. Yeah. Calm down. I'm not going to say Red Hawk is as iconic. But who cares?
Richards, a lot of people aren't happy about the casting, and it seems like something that takes literally 2 minutes to do, or not even shave the mustache.
Hey, it might be shaved, bro. Who knows? Everything we have seen so far is stashed, though. So y'all might y'all might be cooked on that one, but I'm not.
I think the question to ask is why they won't shave it if they're not going to do it.
Hey man, hey man.
They better have a good reason.
Maybe they just want to have a mustache. Okay, shout out to Matt Shackman. But by the way, he directed the second best Disney Plus show of all time. Okay, now. All right, let's get through this. All right, this is a hard time for me. I might cry. Okay. The Acolyte is canceled, and I'm so happy about it. I'm not sad. Okay, well, it is sad that that this is where fandom has come to, and this is where the Star Wars content has come to. It's always sad when a Star Wars project gets canceled, but all in all, this is to an extent good news that the Acolyte got canceled. Okay, now let's talk about the facts. Okay, the facts is that the season finale of The Acolyte was the lowest viewed finale out of all of the Star Wars projects. Jerry, that's counting the animated ones, bro.
I just don't think that's crazy, but I still can't believe they just made this show. It's so ridiculous to me. And I don't think the character does, other than the Sith, with his helmet on.
Yeah, he was cool.
Sorry?
No. I said he was cool.
He was cool. But other than that, I don't think the character, Daphne Keene's character looked terrible to me. I don't know who designed her makeup, the ears, the colors.
Bro, she's like a mermaid. It was weird, bro.
She looked like she belonged in she looked like a little fox in a Disney cartoon.
Dude, she looked like those little fish characters from Aquaman 1. You know what I mean? It was so weird. Yeah, so look, this show being canceled obviously is good news. Jared and I have been talking about for weeks that we think Bob Iger is really making moves. This is one of those things, man. This is a shame. And you know, the views dipped after the first episode, as you know, a lot of people thought. And you know, the reality is that it doesn't matter whether if you defend this or not. Okay. And this is where a lot of my issues come in with a lot of fandom, is that, you know, stop tying your personal stuff to the projects. And you have to view these projects from a viewpoint of just logic. You know, if you read the lore in Star Wars and you watch this film, it's terrible. You know, and from a lore standpoint, this just destroys what was built from before. Yes, the action scenes are cool. I'm not going to deny that the action scenes are dope. Yes, some of the shots are cool. And like I can't deny that, but when it comes to the dialogue and the content and the characters, it's just not interesting. And the reality is, right, because someone that is stupid, I don't say stupid, but someone that only covers things from a certain point of view will either point to politics, which is an issue, not gonna lie. They will point to a bunch of other things. But the reality is that there are 1,000 other characters that are way more interesting than these freaking people. Am I right, Jerry?
100%. And
You
that's
like
the thing. Like, they should be focused on new, interesting characters. And, you know, I also hate the argument where it's like, oh, they finally do something unique, or, oh, you know, the fandom menace is, you know, should be happy that, like, we're finally moving away from the Skywalkers. Yeah, we do want to move away from the Skywalkers. Yeah, we do want stuff that's different, but we still want it to be good. And we certainly don't want it to feel like there is an agenda being pushed in our content when we have already, it is not a secret, and it hasn't been a secret, that Star Wars fans don't like agenda driven content. Okay. And if you're going to do it, you know that people are going to complain about it. Like, and then people complain about it. And then, like, the other side is like, oh, well, you know, like we said last time, we didn't like it. We said the time before we didn't like it. And, you know, I just don't understand, like, what's so hard about making good quality Star Wars content. Because I got to tell you, it's gotten to the point that, like, I'm not even looking forward to the next Star Wars project. Like, I really am not. I don't think the
Mando and Grogu.
I don't think the franchise is Mandalorian.
That's gonna be a fun movie. Yeah,
that'll be a good movie. Like, I'm looking forward to that. But the rest of it, like, if content is under the Star Wars franchise banner, that is not enough at this point to get me excited for it. And that used to always be the case. Like, you tell me it's Star Wars, oh, I'm there 100%, looking forward to it. Now it's like, their track record recently is so bad that, like, how could I, you know?
Yeah. So because like, for me personally, like, it's just like Star Wars has one of the most richest lores in IP history, and the thing that like, the Ahsoka show shows you that, that, like, when you dig into the lore of the Force and when you're really trying to find answers to some of these things, fans want to engage in those kind of things, like, because like, even you, bro, like, I remember, like, you started watching Ahsoka just because of Balin's skull and Shin Hati, and like they're introducing us to new characters that give you different perspectives of the Force, but also their view of the Galactic Empire and everything that's happened, And when you go away from those kind of sources, man, it really hurts the story. And also, when you go back to a film like The Acolyte, there's only one person that we're expecting, and it's Darth Plagueis. Darth Plague, like, and this is, and with the Star Wars Joan that I did yesterday, it was talking about the fact that one of the biggest weaknesses of Star Wars is that there's so many gaps of time that you should be wanting to fill in the gaps with characters that people care about. If you had a Plagueis and Palpatine show, people would watch it, you know.
Right.
But but when you're not thinking from that perspective, and you get people, you see, I trash Christopher Nolan all the time, but the reality is that he did what he wanted and it was good. As much as I hate it, he did what he wanted and it was good. Period.
Yeah.
With Star Wars, people are doing what they want and it sucks.
Yeah.
You can do what you want. You like, look, you can make it agenda in certain elements, and if it's good, people won't care, and that's just facts. Look at the boys, look at other projects, it's facts. But the reality is that with Star Wars, this is a very this is a very prudent subject because it has ruined the whole entire IP. And if you're Lucasfilm, you cannot mess around, bro. And you literally crap on the birth of Anakin, bro. Like, it's just it's
Yeah. It's
so
crazy.
look, yeah. So I'm going to be honest, guys. Like, this is just me personally. We're obviously going to cover Star Wars, but like the excitement level, other for Mando and Ahsoka, we're obviously hyped about that. But when it comes to a lot of new stuff, I'm going to tell you from my personal perspective, I'm not going to say I'm going to be very negative, but Jerry, I'm going to question a lot of stuff that they do for now on, a lot,
Yeah.
because I remember I was talking to you about the Acolyte a year ago, and I thought it was going to be a whole for film, and now I just can't trust him anymore, bro. I like my trust with Lucasfilm is gone, and that's what sucks
It's
as a
crazy.
fan.
And I saw someone else say, like, what was it? Oh, George Lucas would have said, well, it's my show and my company, so I'm making the second season anyway. And I was like, you know, well, they also threw out his storyboards for the sequels. So, and someone else was like, oh, well, that's, taking inspiration versus act. I'm like, listen, if you're going to say what George Lucas would have done, well, he would have also used his own storyboards and not thrown them out. So it's interesting to me that, like, I think that the fact that they threw the storyboards out says that they were never really interested in honoring Star Wars the way it should be, because I don't know any real, like, Star Wars fan that would have thrown George Lucas's storyboards out. And I think that ever since we knew that, like, we should have known that shows like The Acolyte weren't going to be good. And, I also think that the problem with something like this is, and I think the MCU suffered from this for a short period too, and that's the fact that when you put out garbage content over and over and over, what happens is fans start becoming critical, and it becomes a trend to be critical of Star Wars. And now, if you put out something that's decent, you don't get the benefit of the doubt anymore. Fans are going to be overly critical. And I think that a prime example of a movie that suffered that fate was Black Widow. I think Black Widow is a great movie, but I think it came out at a really bad time for Marvel and for the timeline of the MCU. And, say the Mandalorian movie comes out and it's just okay, fans are going to bash it to death, And the other thing, like a show like Boba Fett, which I didn't love, but it was okay. I think that that's a show that doesn't necessarily, like, I just think it's a mediocre show, but it gets trashed on more because it's the trend to trash Star Wars. But it's the trend to trash Star Wars because Star Wars puts out trash content. And I think the more trash content you put out, not only are you damaging your IP franchise banner, but you're also creating a bad environment to release content to, because now your consumer base is overly critical of you, and that's going to make you suffer more than you would have if you kept the fan base happy.
Yeah. So where I'm at with this is because I like a lot of people love using the George Lucas storyboard crap, and I go back on forth from that, and this will end because I'm gonna dive into a deep rabbit hole.
Uh,
A lot of people forget that when Lucas made the prequels, everyone hated them, which is why George Lucas stopped making Star Wars films. Number one, because the fans hated him so much, and Star Wars has always had terrible fandom. And the reality is that the sequels were so bad that now everyone wants to gas up the prequels like they were the greatest thing since sliced cheese. And I just personally feel that even if the storyboards were given, people probably would have still hated it. Just being honest, because that's just how a lot of Star Wars fans operate. They just hate everything. Um, but I so like it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't type of situation. I'm not trying to exonerate Kathleen Kennedy from what she's done because she's made it theoretically worse. But I do think that like Star Wars as a fandom, I think we as a fandom are responsible. And I don't claim the fandom menace group. I don't claim any group because that's just too much drama for me, bro. I remember that, and I remember
I
like
don't claim that either, but that's just what people
no,
say.
no. I'm not saying that you have, but I'm exonerating us from that group right now
Oh,
because
okay.
it's really toxic. Like that era was toxic.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. You're good. But that was a really toxic era of Star Wars. But
Okay.
I will say this, bro. I think that Star Wars. I think the Mandalorian was the perfect thing. That was something fresh and new. And the Mandalorian was perfect because there was no Anakin, and Luke Skywalker ended up coming, which was awesome. And to be honest, like I think Mando is probably the only thing that they need to dive into at the moment.
Mando.
Yeah, because it works. It makes you the money. Season 3 was mid. I'm not gonna lie. But like right now, bro, everything else is just and maybe Andor season 2. And maybe Andor season 2 because people like Andor. And then you just figure it out from there, man. But the biggest question is what the hell are you gonna do with the future? Because we have a Rey movie that's coming out, and why is that happening? But I've kind of looked past that at this point. But like, what is going on? What is happening?
Yeah,
like Jared, we have no news, bro. Of what, like, at least Kevin Feige will come out and tell us we are getting Doomsday, we're getting Secret Wars, we're getting Fantastic Four. Like, at least Feige and James Gunn tell us what's happening, bro. We have no knowledge of what's going on.
right.
I hate being a Star Wars fan. I really do. Yeah. So, all right. Top pick for Kitty Pride, Zendaya. All right, we're gonna we're gonna end the stream here, guys. We hope you guys had a great time. We gave you guys 2 hours of content, so
yeah.
Next week we're going a half hour. I'm kidding. Have a wonderful night and peace out, y'all.